Good mythical afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Ayala with another vlog for you for world history. This is World War II, A Victory in the Pacific, a Mr. Ayala presentation. There are no questions for the doobly-doo for this one, so please just sit back, relax, and review the homework so you can get your notes and be successful on the next item we are completing. Anyway, our objectives. What did Japanese do to try to prevent their loss in the Pacific? What made Iwo Jima so important? What did the battle for Okinawa show? And what did President Truman do to stop the war? So to start with, we're going to talk about how the Japanese in retreat. We know that after Midway, which is the turning point of the war, and after Guadalcanal, Japan is in a full retreat. The Philippines falls back to the United States in May of 1942. And so what ends up happening is Japan wants to destroy the American fleet to stop their advance, but they ended up having to risk their own do so. So this is at the Battle of Leyte Gulf in 1944. This is the largest sea battle in World War II. Some people still consider that, some historians even consider this the largest sea battle in all of history. So what ended up happening was the Japanese lost disastrously. Sorry, I'm kind of sick, so it's kind of hard to say things. And will no longer be seen as a fighting force in the war. So the Navy has been knocked out of the war for the Japanese. And all that the Japanese had left were their army and their kamikaze pilots or their suicide pilots, which would literally take a Japanese Zero, pack it full of explosive, and use it kind of like a human-controlled bomb and try to attack our carriers. March 1945, the Battle of Iwo Jima took about a month. It's extremely bloody. It's about 760 miles away from the Japanese home islands, and the U.S. wins. The most important thing of there is this raising of the flag that was in Time magazine. I actually had a student once who was actually related to them, so one of the flag bearers, so I thought that was kind of neat. On April 1945, you get the Battle of Okinawa, which is also one of the bloodiest battles in World War II. The U.S. wins. This is 350 miles from the Japanese homeland, and it allows the United States and our allies to be able to actually bomb the Japanese from an air base. So the Japanese lost 100,000 troops, while the U.S. only lost 12,000. And because of the bloody battles at Iwo Jima and Okinawa, Truman, who becomes president after FDR's death via a brain hemorrhage, was horrified about the loss of about the cost of the invasion of the Japanese home island. Estimates were between 500,000 to over 1 million Allied losses, and the majority, about 90%, would be American. So at the same time, the United States is developing a secret weapon known as the atomic bomb under the name of the Manhattan Project in Los Alamos, New Mexico. It was led by General Leslie Groves and Chief Scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer. And what happens is they actually finish the bomb, and Truman's at a conference. And when he hears about that, he just, he leans over to Stalin and to Churchill, and more or less says, "Yeah, I've got a surprise for them." So Truman, after some thinking and about the bomb, says, "You know what? Deploying this bomb may make the war faster, and will also help us not lose so many men." So Truman warns the Japanese prior to this, because he doesn't want to give them without a warning, that they should surrender or expect a rain of ruin from the air, as he states. Japan just ignores the warning because they're kind of used to it. On August 6th of 1945, the U.S. drops an atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Over 70,000 to 800,000 people would die instantly. Many more would die later from radiation poisoning, burns, so on and so forth. And Japan still refused to surrender. So 3 days later, the United States drops a second bomb on Nagasaki, and over 700,000 die immediately. And the United States used these bombs in quick succession to kind of more or less say, hey, we have a lot of these things, and if you don't stop, this is what's going to keep occurring. On September 2nd of 1945, the Japanese surrenders to U.S. General Douglas MacArthur on the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay. So the war is now over in both the Europe and Pacific. So overall, after Guadalcanal Midway, the U.S. and mostly Australia starts pushing them back. Iwo Jima and Okinawa shows that if the United States doesn't stop this war, that the invasion of Japan will be extremely bloody. So Truman decides to drop the atomic bomb that was made during the Manhattan Project on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Then in September, about a month later, Japan officially surrenders. So not that bad, nice and short. And as always, Don't forget to be awesome.